Welcome to Selling the DMV. I'm your host, Meredith Fogel, and today we are discovering a town within a forest, a town with fascinating ties to DC history, the town of Washington Grove. Come with me as we discover this rustic jewel with scenic spots and unique architecture that give it its distinctive character. Join us as we take a walk through Washington Grove. This is Jolie McCatherine. She is the former mayor and longtime resident of Washington Grove. And Jolie, this is one of the highest elevations in Washington Grove, and it is called Political Hill.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Tell us, why is it called Political Hill?
When the Grove had their summer camp meetings out here, before it became an incorporated town, they had up to 10,000 people here in the summertime. And of course, where people go, politicians follow, right?
Right.
So they were allowed to come into town. They were allowed here. This was a speaking area for them. Probably the most well-known speaker we've had here was William Jennings Bryan. Okay. And so this is where people would gather and the politicians had a chance to be heard.
Cool, right over by this little
rock pile behind us.
So tell us a little bit about how this all started and what we would have seen here when this was the original encampment.
There were several Methodist churches downtown, and they were looking for a summer respite. We're up on the circle. A tabernacle was built here, and this is where the worship services were held. Platform tents at first with canvas, and eventually they started growing into more year-round homes. Now they're all year-round homes.
So tell me how this town came by the moniker of town within a forest.
When the Methodists came out to make the community, they found a wooded patch of land that has never been logged. And they were very impressed by its beauty and sereneness and the springs that were in the area. When the houses were being built, they were early Methodist architecture. We've got the double doors or single door with two windows on the side. My husband's grandfather, Irving Leroy McCatherine, was the quote, made that quote up for the town.
Oh.
And he even had it on license plates when we only had the back license plates during World War II. So it was something that he said and created, and it still sticks today.
So now we're in a very special spot because this not only is the oldest house on record, but it happens to be your house, Jolie.
It does.
So tell us about the history of your house.
Well, of course, on the circle, it started as a platform tent. And we know in 1886, there was a newspaper article and a solid roof were being put on it. We bought it 40 some years ago and have been here ever since and altered it according to our needs and our family needs. And it's still a really nice place to live. It's nice and quiet up here. When the town was being constructed, there was a rule that you could not take down a tree to build a tent or a cottage site. So residents got very creative as to how they handled the tree situation. And this is a perfect example of what this homeowner did.
So this is your namesake, McCatherine Hall. So tell us about what this building is now and what it was originally used for.
It was originally built in 1902. It replaced the tabernacle that we talked about up on the circle, and it became the Assembly Hall. And it was called that until my husband's grandfather, Irving Leroy McCatherine, was the first mayor when the town became incorporated and was so for 20 years. So when he retired, the town honored his service by naming it McCatherine Hall. So we have an annual town meeting here. So we are definitely a democratic form of government here, but this is the main center of the town now.
Very cool. Tell us, how difficult is it to preserve a neighborhood like this?
Well, we do have two wooded areas, an East Woods and a West Woods. It's about total of about 100 acres. And we do have a committee, again, all volunteer, that works on the trails, in plantings, and clearing non-native invasive species of plants. So we work really hard to keep our woods. It's probably my favorite thing to do in town is to walk through the woods. So in that sense, we try and preserve what we have, and it has at times been struggles. But so far, so good right now.
Absolutely, and it really is a treasure. I can see why the people who live here love it and fight to protect it. It is beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us on our walk through Washington Grove. I'm Meredith Fogel with Selling the DMV. We'll see you next time.